I'm a 21-year-old guy, living on my own after completing 2 tours in the military. Growing up wasn't easy. My 15-year-old brother has a habit of stealing money from everyone in the family. And my mom? Well, she's a piece of work. She's always treated us differently. I'd be stuck doing everyone's laundry and dishes, while my brother got off easy with tasks like sorting shoes. After my second tour, I decided to treat myself. I bought a 2 terabyte PCIe hard drive for my gaming PC, which I've been building piece by piece. The whole setup cost me around $1,600, not a small amount, but I'd worked hard for it. Excited about finally completing it, I sent a picture to my friends on Snapchat. Big mistake. My brother, who I'd forgotten was on my friends list, called me immediately. He asked if he could come over and play on my new PC. I refused, reminding him that he had broken my Xbox Series X and my Oculus the last time he visited. This set him off. He started yelling about how I should give him the PC, just like I had supposedly given him those other things. He insisted that he deserved it more than me. Before I could respond, he started screaming. Next thing I know, my mom's on the phone. She tried to guilt-trip me, saying that because she gave birth to me, I owed my brother this computer. I hung up on her. The next day, while I was out shopping, I got a text from my landlord saying 2 people were banging on my door. I rushed home to find my brother, mom, and landlord waiting for me. As soon as my brother spotted me, he burst into tears. He started accusing me of stealing his computer, claiming it was his. My mom joined in, screaming at me for hanging up on her and demanding that I give my brother the computer right away. My landlord, clearly uncomfortable, made a hasty exit. I needed to get inside to put away my groceries, so I unlocked the door. They tried to push past me, but I managed to block my brother. I couldn't touch my mom without her screaming assault, so I let her in. As soon as they were inside, chaos erupted. My mom started taking pictures, sending them to her friends and claiming she was buying the place. My brother made a beeline for my game room, but thankfully, I had a padlock on the door. He started screaming for me to open the door, and my mom backed him up, ordering me to do what he said. Against my better judgment, I opened the door. My brother rushed to the PC and tried to turn it on, but I hadn't installed the operating system yet. I explained that it needed to be set up first and gave him the Wi-Fi password so he could play something else for now. While my brother settled on the couch playing Roblox, I realized my mom had disappeared. I searched the house, but she was nowhere to be found. Then my phone rang. It was my mom telling me to clean what she was calling her house. She said she was on her way back with her friends. I tried to argue that it wasn't her house, but she wouldn't listen. I hung up again, but moments later, I got a call from my bank about suspicious purchases. I checked my app and saw a bunch of Roblox transactions. I declined them and heard my brother screaming from the bathroom. That's when I realized my credit card was missing. My brother came downstairs holding my card and his phone. He was confused and upset, asking why he couldn't buy more Robux. I scolded him and took my card back, thinking he'd only spent about $200. A few minutes later, my mom returned with her friends. They waltzed in like they owned the place. My mom started showing her friends around, welcoming them to what she called her lovely new home. When I tried to object, she cut me off, calling me a homeless leech and saying I should do something with my life. Her friends left, but I'd had enough. I started spilling secrets about her friends, like how one of them had gotten intimate with another's husband. They quickly shut up after that. I demanded that they all get out of my house immediately. Suddenly, we heard a crash and screaming from the game room. I ran in to find my brother with his foot stuck in my PC's case. The glass shattered. I helped him out and took him to the hospital, my mom criticizing me the whole way for not being able to pay the medical bill. That's when I checked my bank account and realized my brother had drained it completely on Roblox. After getting him treated, I drove them back to their car. My mom refused to leave, so I called the police to remove her. I filed for a restraining order online and sent her a screenshot before blocking her number. Later that day, they came back, threatening to sue me. I simply walked outside, made it clear I was armed, and they haven't been back since. I reported the unauthorized purchases to my bank, and they got Roblox to refund me. My brother's account got banned, so all the money my mom had spent on it over the years, gone. I told my gossip-loving grandma about the whole ordeal, so now the entire family is against them. I'm going no contact with both of them. It's been a wild ride, but I'm finally free from their entitled behavior. My house, my rules, and they're not welcome here anymore. I'm a college student trying to make ends meet, and food delivery seemed like a flexible way to earn some extra cash. I've been doing it for about 6 months now, and for the most part, it's been pretty uneventful. Pick up the food, drop it off, rinse and repeat. Sure, there's the occasional grumpy customer or confusing apartment complex, but nothing I couldn't handle. Today started like any other day. I logged into the app and started accepting orders. The first few deliveries went smoothly, and I was feeling pretty good about my earnings for the day. Then, I got assigned 2 orders that were relatively close to each other. No big deal, I thought. I'd done this plenty of times before. I picked up both orders and headed to the first address. The app always has us deliver in the most efficient order, so I didn't think twice about it. When I got to the first house, I saw that it was a hand-to-customer order. Great. Sometimes these can take a while if the customer doesn't answer right away. I knocked on the door and waited. And waited. After about 5 minutes of knocking and ringing the doorbell, someone finally answered. I handed over the food with a smile despite the delay and headed back to my car. That first delivery had taken longer than expected, and I knew the second customer's food was getting cold. Still, there wasn't much I could do about it now. I pulled up to a nice-looking house in a suburban neighborhood. Another hand-to-customer order. I grabbed the food and walked up to the front door, putting on my best customer service smile. I knocked, and after a moment, the door swung open. A woman stood there, arms crossed, glaring at me like I'd just insulted her entire family. She was tall, blonde, and looked to be in her early 30s. The scowl on her face made it clear she wasn't happy. The woman immediately started berating me about how long I had taken to arrive. She accused me of going all over the place instead of delivering their food and demanded an explanation. I was taken aback by her hostile tone, but I tried to keep my cool. I apologized for the delay and explained that I had 2 orders assigned to me, and the app had instructed me to deliver the other one first since it was closer. I suggested that if she had any issues with the delivery time, she could contact customer support for assistance. I thought this was a reasonable explanation, but apparently she didn't agree. She became even more agitated, insisting that my explanation wasn't good enough. She demanded that her order be remade and provided for free, threatening to call the restaurant and have me fired if I didn't comply. At this point, I was starting to get frustrated. I took a deep breath and tried to explain again. I clarified that I didn't work for the restaurant but was an independent contractor for the delivery app. I apologized again but emphasized that I couldn't do anything about remaking her order or giving her a refund. I advised her to contact the app's customer support for such issues. Her face turned red, and she started clapping her hands sarcastically. She told me to wait right there, saying she had something for me. She then turned and disappeared into the house. Every instinct told me this wasn't going to end well, so I decided it was time to leave. I turned to head back to my car, but before I could take more than a couple of steps, I heard a man's voice booming from inside the house, ordering me to hold it right there. I spun around to see a large man, easily over 6 feet tall, storming out of the house. He looked furious. I've trained in martial arts for years, so I instinctively turned to face him, not wanting to have my back to a potential threat. The man walked towards me and aggressively demanded that I give them their refund, or else. I tried to stay calm and explain the situation again, but he wasn't having it. Before I could finish my sentence, he shoved me hard. I stumbled back but managed to keep my footing. My training kicked in, and I immediately squared my stance, raising my hands in a defensive position. I pleaded with the man not to come any closer or put his hands on me again, explaining that I was just trying to do my job. He ignored my warning and threw a wild punch at my face. Thanks to my training, I managed to lean back and avoid it. Without thinking, I countered with a front kick to his stomach. It connected solidly, and he let out a loud oof as the wind was knocked out of him. As he doubled over, I followed up with a quick 1-2 punch combination to his face. He dropped to one knee, and I took a step back, hoping this would be the end of it. I urged him to stay down, expressing that I didn't want any more trouble and that I was leaving. But he wasn't done. He struggled to his feet with a red face. He shouted obscenities at me and threatened to kill me. He charged at me again, throwing more wild punches. I managed to dodge most of them, but one caught me on the side of the head. It stunned me for a moment, but my training took over. I ducked under his next swing and managed to get behind him. At this point, I was just trying to restrain him until he calmed down. I attempted to wrestle him to the ground, but he was stronger than I expected. He kept swinging, even managing to elbow me in the face at one point. Finally, I managed to trip him, and we both went down. We rolled around on the ground, with him trying to punch and even bite me. I did my best to pin him down without causing any serious harm. Eventually, I managed to get on top of him in a mount position. He continued to shout threats, demanding that I get off him, and reiterating his intention to kill me. He tried to bench press me off, and almost succeeded a couple of times. He was surprisingly strong. I told him I wouldn't get off until he calmed down, but this only seemed to enrage him more. He started scratching and biting, forcing me to defend myself with a couple of hammer fists to get him to cover up. Once he was covering his face, I shifted my position to pin his arms with my knees. We stayed like that, him struggling and me just trying to keep him contained, until finally I heard sirens approaching. When the police arrived, they ordered me off the man and immediately put me in handcuffs. I was placed in the back of a police car while they sorted out what had happened. One of the officers came to take my statement, and I explained everything as calmly as I could. The officer informed me that the woman had called and accused me of threatening her and assaulting her husband on their front lawn. My heart sank. It was their word against mine, and I was the one they found on top of the husband. Then I remembered my dashcam. I always keep it running during deliveries just in case. I told the officer about it and explained that it might have captured audio of the incident, even if it couldn't see everything from where my car was parked. The officers reviewed the footage, which thankfully had captured the man threatening me and some of the struggle. Even better, a neighbor across the street had a security camera that had recorded the whole incident. After reviewing all the evidence, the police let me go. They took down my information and told me they'd be in touch if they had any more questions. I decided to press charges against the man for assault. I reported the incident to the delivery app, including the police case number, hoping they'd ban these customers from using the service in the future. I'm still processing everything that happened, but one thing's for sure, I'll be a lot more cautious on future deliveries. And maybe it's time to look into a different side gig, one that doesn't involve the risk of being attacked by angry customers. I've been working at this farm unit for about 5 years now, but let me tell you, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We've had this ongoing problem with fly tipping outside our gate. For those who don't know, that's when people illegally dump their trash on someone else's property. It's a real pain in the neck. We're so far out in the sticks that they don't want to bother, so it's always left to us to clean up the mess. My boss and I have spent countless hours hauling away other people's junk. It's frustrating, to say the least. Last year, things came to a head. I showed up to work one morning and I could hear my boss before I even saw him. He was cursing up a storm, his face red as a tomato. I walked around to the front of the building and there it was, the mother of all garbage piles. It looked like someone had emptied their entire house onto our doorstep. My boss was fuming. He ranted about the mess and complained that we'd be cleaning it up all day. I tried to calm him down, saying we'd get it sorted, but he wasn't having it. He kept going on about how ridiculous the situation was, and that we weren't a dumping ground. I started helping him load up the truck, trying to ignore his constant grumbling. That's when I stumbled upon something interesting. An old parcel box with a name and address still visible. I pocketed it without saying a word and continued working. After we'd loaded everything up, my boss turned to me. He asked me to take the truck to the recycling center and handle the disposal. I agreed, telling him I'd take care of it. I hopped in the truck and headed out. But I didn't go to the recycling center. Oh no, I had other plans. I punched the address from the box into my phone's GPS and followed the directions. It led me to a nice suburban house with a perfectly manicured lawn. I parked across the street and waited. After about an hour, I saw a car pull out of the driveway. Perfect timing. I waited a few more minutes to make sure they were gone, then made my move. I backed the truck up onto their driveway, my heart pounding in my chest. This was it. I took a deep breath and hit the tip button. The back of the truck slowly raised, and all that garbage, their garbage, slid out onto their pristine lawn. The satisfying thud of junk hitting grass was music to my ears. Once it was all unloaded, I grabbed that box I'd found earlier. I scrawled a quick note on it with a marker I had in my pocket. I believe you dropped this, so I returned it for you. Then I left it right on their doorstep. Maybe it wasn't the most mature thing to do, but after years of cleaning up after these inconsiderate people, it felt good to give them a taste of their own medicine. I went back to work, told my boss I'd taken care of everything, and that was that. I didn't know what would happen next, but I hoped I'd made my point. A week passed, then two. No more garbage appeared outside our gate. A month went by, still nothing. It seemed like my little stunt had worked, but the story doesn't end there. About 6 weeks after my delivery, I was at work when a police car pulled up. My heart sank. Had I been caught? The officer stepped out and approached me. He asked if I was the one who'd been having trouble with fly tipping. I nervously confirmed that it had been an ongoing issue for us. Then, to my surprise, the officer shared some good news. He told me they'd arrested someone in connection with the fly tipping. Apparently, this person had been dumping garbage all over the county. The police caught them in the act trying to unload a truck full of junk in a nature reserve. I was stunned. I told the officer this was great news and thanked him for letting us know. Sometimes you've got to fight fire with fire, or in this case, garbage with garbage. We haven't had a single fly tipping problem since, and I sleep better at night knowing I played a part in putting an end to it. Maybe it wasn't the most conventional method, but hey, it got results.